Hey, what's up guys? This is Church of Caboose, and for this Destiny 2 video, I thought it might be nifty to share how I am going about the moments of triumph, because there's a lot of stuff to do, and there's also some pretty cool rewards. One of the reasons why I'm doing this is this channel is kind of founded a lot on the idea of trying to help folks with the most efficient ways of doing things. I work full time, now I'm working 6 days a week, and some of the things I'm able to get done are things that we would assume would take a lot more time, and I feel like over the years I've gotten quite a handle on how to try and combine things and work in some cases as many as 4 things at the same time, which should help be a huge time saver for this moment of triumph. So I thought I'd share with you guys what I am doing to go about this. Before we start the video though, you might be noticing this is a little different format because you can see the screen and you can see my face. I'm recording this off of my Twitch, so if you want to catch me live, I don't have a set schedule yet, but I try to usually stream whenever I'm playing unless I'm just feeling really wiped out from the day. So you can usually catch me on Twitch. It's just Church of Caboose, same logo as my YouTube channel. And so feel free to go over there and I guess follow me over there, so that way you stay more up to date with all the good stuff and have some fun conversations. If you like this video, make sure you like the video by clicking the like button, the thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel so that way you can see more content by me. And then the last thing I want to point out is RNG has not been kind to me these last couple of weeks. I got some friends who are 1070 or higher. Well, hello, Winnie Rose. And the best I can do is 1069. I keep getting like repeat gauntlets, and Goss is giving me multiple energy weapons, and that's why those two are 57, and it's just not going great. And I don't have on my highest boot just because I feel like this looks better. So the first thing we're going to talk about with this whole deal are what are some of the rewards. Well, some of these rewards for Moments of Triumph are exclusively through the Bungie store. You just go to bungie.net/rewards and you get a code once you complete some of these items, and we'll touch on them a little bit as we go through the actual title. And then others are things you go to bungie.net/rewards, and when you claim it, you just go over to Flare. Here, I'll just show you guys real fast. Go over here to collections. Then you gotta go to Flare, and then you have count. Oh, there you go. One of them, there's right there. Season of Accolades. That's one of the emblems that you get. Then you go over to account, and then you can see. That's not. Hold on, that's not it yet. We gotta go to general. I'm sorry. We need to go to general. And then there's the other two. We got Eclipse Void and Savior, and there's also a Ghost. But I just want to show you guys what the Ghost and Sparrow look like, because that's just a little bit easier for my character screen, because I made sure I pulled them out. They should just both be under Season 11. So here's the Ghost Shell that you get at 1 point for doing all these various triumphs. I like it a lot. It looks like the Traveler, and you got that rotating, I guess, shards that you would see if you were looking at the Traveler from the tower. Then we have a wonderful, I'm just kind of being a little sarcastic, not a too shabby looking Sparrow that you get when you do this whole thing. It's called Resurrecting Flight, and it keeps on theme with the boxes from all the weapons of Season of Arrivals. They look kind of like boxes, and this does the same thing. You can see like that Moments of Triumph emblem, and it's not too shabby. Mess around with some shaders, and you got yourself a pretty nifty looking Sparrow. So that's some of the rewards. There's another raid reward, but we're going to talk about that through the title. So I was going to give you guys a couple of examples of things you should think about when you're working on this Moments of Triumph 2020. That gives you the title MMXX. If you're around last year, that is MMX1X, or MXI, we say it. This is for 2020, and the one from last year means 2019. That's the difference in their name. So here you go. There you see some of the rewards. The shirt's one of the ones where you get a code. So how you combine some of, notice right here, we got a whole lot of raid clears you have to do. Doesn't matter if you did them before the season started, you have to do it during the Moments of Triumph. So I had to redo 5 of these raids. What I mostly did was grabbed boss checkpoints. That means you don't have to do the whole raid, and if you're someone that is learning how to do the raid, it's a little bit easier just to get a boss checkpoint, get the clear with some friends, and be done with it. And then once you feel like, all right, I'm more caught up, to go back through and do full clears. But I do suggest at some point trying to do full clears. Now you notice I got this little emblem pulled up right here, or this triumph, because it gives you a raid ring discount if you want to get a ring with the raid skull, like the little symbol you get when everyone wipes, and to show that there's no respawn allowed. There's a ring for it. And you get an emblem, which is what I already have on my character, and I'll show you guys that right now. So it's the best way to do all these raids. Again, get the checkpoints, go through, and make sure you guys are trying to hunt down that good old Anarchy and Taraba, especially Anarchy. Anarchy is probably really key to doing massive DPS. In Prophecy, it's not uncommon for me to get 2 million damage or more against the Prophecy boss, and there's the emblem right there up the top is what it looks like. If you get a better little zoom in on it, you can kind of see it's like black splatter with the raid skull. So it's kind of a cool emblem. I like it a lot. So that's what I would do for the raids. While you're working on the raids, you can farm those boss clears, and once you get the 20 boss clears for both Crown of Sorrow, oh shit, went too far, and Scourge of the Past, then you have a 50% chance of Anarchy dropping, and they got rid of the reward limitation, meaning you can do encounters over and over and over and get rewards instead of each encounter gives you 1 reward per character each week. So it's a great time to try and farm out all that loot that you want. The hard modes of things like Spire of Stars has some catalysts, and I believe Eater of Worlds has a catalyst as well, but I know Spire of Stars has I think it's Telesto and Sleeper, and there's some other stuff, but that's not super duper important. So let's go on down the list. Let's look at some of these other things. You might notice these triumph scores. So to get the apprentice, you have a triumph score of 12,500. To get the triumph master, you need a triumph score of 50,000. So you can work on these 2 triumphs while you're doing a whole bunch of other things. If you want to use Thorn and Lumina, just go to your lore page and find the lore pages that make the most that work for those weapons, because you get lore for getting kills. I'm not sure if there's a set count of how many kills you need. As no, use the weapon. The lore eventually drops, and then just keep using it. Check on your page, and once all that page is filled up, use a different weapon to go from Thorn to Lumina. And if you want to use other weapons, just give it a Google look. Those are just the 2 I know of off the top of my head. So you can kind of work on those triumph scores while you're doing a whole bunch of other stuff. And speaking of other stuff, make sure you are grabbing weekly bounties. Now, obviously, or I guess to me it's obvious, but I do way more than 5 weekly bounties. It's just they don't count, I guess. Once this moment of triumph started, because I know I was doing lots of weeklies to try and power up. I stockpiled a whole bunch and turned them in the first day season of arrivals, so I'm like 98% sure the challenger is only for doing these weeklies while you're in this current moments of triumph. And these are going to be useful because you can do weeklies for things like do a raid of a clan bounty is a weekly bounty, and if you do a raid with a clan, there you go. Now you have one of those weekly bounty done. And so if you just kind of look through a little bit, you can be like, so I can do some stuff at the same time. Let's look at these 4 right here can all be done together. This is one example I wanted to point out. You have Gun for Hire, which is bounties completed. You have Challenger, which is weekly bounties being done. And you have Ordeal or No Deal, which is do Ordeal Nightfall completions. And for the Vanguard, which is complete 20 strikes. So what I would do, go to the tower, go to Zavala, grab all the bounties you can, because you have 2 weeklies, which will count for Challenger. And you'll have a handful, I'm probably between 5 and 10 daily bounties, which will work for Gun for Hire. Then go over to the 1020 Ordeal, because it's matchmaking, and each completion of that gives you 10%. So once those 10 are done, make sure as you finish bounties, you go back to the tower and grab more of those repeatable bounties. So once you get this thing done with 10 of those Nightfalls, you should only have 10 strikes left. Then you just go to the strike playlist, make sure you do at least 3 of them with the same subclass. That will also give you a pinnacle. So look at that, you're doing 6 things for 1. Because if you do 3 Nightfalls, you also get a pinnacle. It's a powerful reward, I think. So you're getting 6 things done while you're working on these 4 triumphs, and you can get progress on all of them. Obviously, other than the pinnacle from Vanguard Strike. So you can get progress for 5 while you're doing these Nightfalls, and then you just finish up the rest in Vanguard. So when you're going through, just try and think about stuff like that. Now, some things you can't take much of a shortcut on would be raids. Just do the boss CP. That's the most shortcut you can possibly do. Then we got Trials. I'm a little bummed. I have like 300 wins in Trials. It's not quite 300. It's 70. And then I've got the Flawless title, a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm really bummed I have to win 7 more matches. But if you're like me and you just don't want to deal with all the sweats, or you feel like you're really bad at PvP, I feel like I'm average, you can low card farm, meaning you just go get a card, get 2 of your buddies, ideally they're decent at PvP, win a game, wipe, win a game, wipe, or win 2 games, wipe, win 2 games, wipe, or if you feel really confident, get to 3, wipe, and then just do 1 or 2 and keep wiping. I don't want to advocate for low card farming because of the loot, because that nearly killed the game mode in Anomaly, which was the 3rd week of Season of the Worthy for Trials. But that's one way to try and get those Trials victories done without pulling your hair out. Then you see over here, we got Legend score. You need to do Season of Arrivals, Valor, Legend. So you need to hit the Valor rank of Legend. And Trials, I believe, contributes to Legend. So as you're going through, you should be able to kind of do both at the same time. If not, just hop into some comp, because you'll get comp score and you'll get Valor score, which also comp helps raise you up, so that's some other stuff you can do at the same time. Now we're going to kind of skip over here towards the last page, because there's the last kind of thing I want to mention, stuff you can group together before we kind of end this out, because it might not be super obvious. So you see right here, we have the exotic arsenal for Witherhoard. I imagine most of you guys have it. If you don't have the Witherhoard, you either need to buy the season pass or get to season rank 35. And I would suggest if you didn't buy the pass, don't buy the pass just for season rank 35, because you need to hit season rank 100. And while you're doing all those raids, those weekly bounties, stuff like that, you will be working pretty well on this season pass. But what really helps to do a couple at the same time is the Ruinous Effigy. Just real briefly, you have to do the Means to the End quest. Make sure you have the exotic quest. I believe the first step is called Growth, and you get that from the Recaster. And then as you progress through, you gotta do the first step is like find basically little dead ghosts and kill these marionettes or marquettes, something like that. They're basically Savathun's puppets is the gist of it. By going to Io and just flipping back and forth between the Rupture and Lost Oasis and killing those things. And then you have to do Gambit, Void kills, and Precision kills. Now this is the part I wanted to talk about, because if you're doing Gambit, you can work on Gambit Standout, which means you need to do deposit motes and defeat 150 enemies with precision kills, which will also help you with that last step of Ruinous Effigy, which will help you to get progress towards this triumph. And there's also oftentimes bounties for things like headshots. There's stuff from the gunsmith that are weapon specific, so you can get some bounties done. You can work on the weekly bounties from the gunsmith while you're doing this, which will get your challenger done. And one of the most efficient progresses for the headshot portion of the Ruinous Effigy is to do Lost Sectors. So if you don't have this part done of K1, just go to the moon, have on whatever gun it is you're going to use for headshots, and just kill everything in those Lost Sectors. Do your best to get as many final blows that are precision shots as possible, and you're working on a couple of triumphs at the same time. So that's kind of why I want to take a little bit of time to talk about real quick, just to let you know. Also, you're going to have to, while you're finishing Ruinous Effigy, you might as well finish the Prophecy Dungeon if you haven't done that already, because there's some of these eyes that are in said dungeon, and all you have to do is just beat the boss. You get that last eye is like right before the boss, so you just have to kind of suck it up and beat the boss. And so you can kind of get yourself a little bit of progress once you got that effigy done by doing the eyes, and then you can get the catalyst for the effigy done and prophecy, and this all done at the same time. These couple of things I just spent some time talking about, I felt like weren't as obvious when I was first scrolling through, and so I want to make sure I took just a little bit of time to do it. Otherwise, you just gotta do a garden, do a Pit of Heresy, and Altar of Sorrows, the final phase, which if you're still struggling for Ruinous Effigy for precision final blows or void final blows, not super hard. Just get a fire team of 3, usually around the weekly reset. There's going to be more people there that are going to be farming for stuff, but it is older content, so you might have to try and deal with either 3 manning this particular event, or loading in, inviting the randoms into your party, and trying to build a group of up to 9 people to finish that whole thing out. Alright guys, I really hope this video was super helpful with just thinking about how to try and combine stuff together. I know I went through most of the triumphs for this particular title, but I didn't go through all of them, I just want you guys thinking a little bit about how you combine things, and this really carries over to a whole bunch of areas of Destiny that really allow me to do things like work full time and have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 titles, and this one I hope to get done unbroken this season. Legend. So I would not be able to do these kinds of things with working full time if I wasn't thinking about how do I combine stuff. So hopefully this gets you all thinking. I really appreciate you guys watching the video. If you need a clan of Vengeful, I guess we're now Venge Clan actually. So you see right here, Vengeful Lunas. We now have Vengeful Corsairs, which is PC, Vengeful Ahamkaras, which is Xbox, and so both Xbox clans are either full or really close to full, so we might be adding in another group. There's talks of mergers and stuff, so if you just want to be a part of a clan, as well as a few hundred people right now for a community and have decent shots at having folks to be able to join you, go ahead and comment down below. You can email me at churchofcaboose1992@gmail.com or send me an Xbox Live message because, as you can see, Church of Caboose is my gamer tag, which is why I named my YouTube, my Twitter, my Twitch, and all that good stuff, Church of Caboose, because I like it and other folks seem to like it a lot as well. So thank you guys all so much for watching. I am Church of Caboose. Have a great week and happy grinding, y'all.